Hello. Welcome back to Module 6, Information Creation as a Process. Today, we will finish Section 3, the research paper. In this video, which is the second of two on the subject, we will talk more about academic writing and the process of writing your paper. We'll begin with ethical writing. There is an implicit understanding between an author and the reader that the work will be original and any words, data, or ideas borrowed from a third party will be properly cited. The reader can also reasonably assume the information contained within the work is being presented as accurately as possible. Colin notes that ethical writing is clear, accurate, fair, and honest, and stresses that words and actions have implications and consequences. Next, let's review a few things about quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. It's important that any quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing choices be relevant to the goals of the paper. Quoting is used when the exact language as it appears in the original source is crucial to supporting your ideas. Quote when the language is especially well written, striking, or memorable. Quote when you disagree with the author and want to let the author speak in their own words. Quote when you cannot capture unfamiliar and/or highly technical concepts or jargon in your own words. Quotes where a person can tell a story or experience firsthand is most effective. Be aware excessive quoting can be a sign of a lack of confidence or a mistaken belief that the words of specialists are always better. Relying on the words of others rather than integrating their thoughts into your prose can signal an uncertainty of your manuscript's purpose, your idea's connections, or how to transition from one idea to another. However, using citations correctly will demonstrate to readers that your ideas or conclusions are supported, even if you do not directly quote an expert. Paraphrasing occurs when you present ideas, facts, connections, or concepts in your own voice in a clearer or more concise manner than the source. Paraphrase when you want to integrate and attribute an important idea without interrupting the flow of your prose. Paraphrase when you want to highlight the aspects of a text that have the most relevance to your argument. Be careful not to paraphrase so closely that you stray into plagiarism. Use your own words and sentence structure. Booth and his fellow writers suggest you read the passage, look away, think about it for a moment, then still looking away, paraphrase it in your own words. Compare your words with those of the source. If the same ideas are presented in the same order with only a change of synonyms, then keep revising until it becomes new work. This is the mark of an ethical writer. Summarizing is condensing a source's main idea or central argument into a shorter version using your own words. Summarize when you want to compare or contrast two or more lengthy arguments or analyses. Summarize when you want to contextualize your views within a broader conversation by categorizing your sources. You are doubtless aware you must cite a direct quotation. However, you should also know your ideas are grounded in the scholarly conversation between you and your sources. You must always reflect the source's original meaning when summarizing or paraphrasing ideas or facts. You should always make clear which ideas or data are your own work and which are drawn from your sources. You must always credit the sources from which you summarized or paraphrased. Citations demonstrate to a reader how all the ideas, yours and your sources, are integrated. When you cite, you are giving credit and showing respect to the other writers who have influenced your thinking. Now, let's discuss a concept we haven't covered. Signal phrases. What is a signal phrase? Signal phrases are expressions such as, the author commented, the author explains, or, according to the author. These help the reader see how your ideas intersect with the ideas drawn from your research. Why should you use a signal phrase? They signal to the reader that information from a source is about to be shared. They connect summaries, paraphrases, and quotes to your words and ideas in a smooth flow. They assist readers in understanding that the ideas you are signaling are taken from the research, not your own mind. They acknowledge the work of others, which demonstrates that you are acting with academic integrity. When using signal phrasing in academic writing, you should vary the wording, structure, and presentation to avoid being repetitious. You should always endeavor to write sentences that make grammatical sense. If you quote a portion of a sentence, the complete sentence still needs to be grammatically correct. We've briefly mentioned literature reviews a few times in past sections, but let's get more into detail. An example of academic writing, a literature review may be incorporated into a research project to establish an empirical or theoretical foundation. According to Fink, a research literature review is a systematic, explicit, and reproducible method for identifying, evaluating, and synthesizing the existing body of completed and recorded work produced by researchers, scholars, and practitioners. Rowley and Slack noted that a literature review needs to draw on and evaluate a range of different types of sources, including academic and professional journal articles, books, and web-based resources. Literature reviews base their findings on objective, primary evidence and/or published and unpublished work from secondary data sources. Reviewing the research literature allows an author to identify and interpret the accumulated knowledge of a topic. The reader is given the proper context with which to comprehend the argument being presented. The literature review has some familiar processes. Evaluating information sources in relation to the question or problem. Searching and locating information resources. Developing conceptual frameworks and mind mapping. Documenting the reviewed works. A literature review can consider and condense past literature into a manageable work in order to bring clarity and context to a difficult topic. A literature review can create an understanding of recent developments, research methods, topical themes, theoretical concepts, and relevant terminology. A literature review can identify areas for possible future research, and can conclude with research propositions and methodologies. In conclusion, this brings the Basic Information Literacy series to a close. Feel free to watch the Barton Library's other literacy videos. Once again, thank you for your time. If you want to learn more about the subjects we have discussed, these are the sources used for Part 2.